In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. Today we are going to have a great conversation about customer service and sales and how to not only implement AI, but how to learn about it and how to deploy it, and what the limitations are, and how we should be thinking about integrating these automation tools into our customer success platform. And I'm going to be speaking with Johann Diaz, who is an MBA qualified business tech leader and former chief operating officer with over 35 years of experience transforming customer service and operational strategies through innovative technology. So welcome to the show, Johann.
Thanks, Emmanuel. Good to be here. Good to see you.
Yeah, well, I'm really appreciative of you spending time today talking about how we can transform our customer/client experience.
Right.
What sort of companies are you working with right now in terms of the training that you're doing?
Yeah, so we're focused on the mid-size organizations, really, and the growing smaller organizations, the ones who are keen on scaling up, who isn't, but the ones who are kind of getting into that game now. And yeah, let's face it, I recognize the need to industrialize maybe some of the processes, the data structures, the application, kind of looking at their operating model, really. And they're now looking at it from an AI perspective, going, Well, if I assume the perspective of AI first, I mean, we used to talk about cloud first.
Right.
We're now talking about AI first. Right? And I think that's right. But, who knows what that actually means. So, I bring the kind of 30 plus years of traditional operational model, if you like, blended now with the technology and the AI components. And I work with those organizations that are really grappling with, what do we do? Where do we start even? Where do we start? We might have played around with a few tools, but what do we do from there?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Where do we start? For me, I always say, let's build a custom GPT and let's contain your company information somewhere, right? And then let's get your staff trained how to use that fundamental. What do you say to that, Johann?
I think that's a great place to start, Emmanuel. Absolutely. Whatever they do, they must start, right? And I hope they have started by now.
I like that.
It's just, I hate to say jump on the bandwagon, but do jump on the bandwagon, because the danger is we will be left behind otherwise. And then it'll just be really too difficult to catch up. You run the risk of being acquired, taken over, merged, whatever it is. And new threats coming into the marketplace. I mean, it's all there, all happening, all at the same time.
Yeah, and I think that's the reality. It's like saying, well, I don't have a website because I don't like to go search and shop online, right? Like nobody can say that anymore. Like, or I don't like social media, so we're not going to do social media ads. Like, I got those messages from clients in the early days, right? But you can't say that now. It's and AI, I think, is the same thing. It is a permanent part of our tech stack. and it is incumbent on all of us as professionals to integrate with it on a daily basis and figure out how to lever it. So,
Correct.
I'm
And work
curious.
out.
Oh,
Sorry, Manuel, I was just going to work out. So, and grapple with the challenges, right? Because we all know that for every good innovation that we bring to the market, if it falls into the hands of bad actors, it will be used in a bad way.
Sure.
So it's incumbent on all of us to think that through, put as much of the guardrails in place as possible, without stifling the great innovation that it will bring for us.
Yep. All right, so let's dig into customer service and just say, like, what's kind of like, if you have a dream client, what's the dream process for it to be implemented?
So the way I look at an organization, so many organizations, almost every organization is still very functionally siloed and structured,
Right.
by which I mean they've got sales, they've got marketing, they've got sales, they've got delivery operations, they've got service, they might have customer success, they've got underneath that, they've got finance, HR. It's all very stovepipe, very functional.
Yeah,
right?
sure.
And yet I come along and you come along and all our listeners come along and we look across the whole organization, because we don't give a monkeys what they do internally by way of their departments and teams and silos and projects and systems and technologies. I don't give a what's, right? Sure. I just care about the process that I go through with that organization. So on the flip side, the organization needs to be much more streamlined around the process that the customer goes through. Now, I might say, on the one hand, you've got customer acquisition and you've got customer retention. And when I was chief operating officer of an operational technology organization, I structured my part of the business in that way, so that, and you're now talking 20 years ago, right? So this is nothing new. It's like it can be done. But the reason it's really important is because it puts one person on point, accountable for, cradle to grave part of the process. If it's marketing through to sales, through to delivery, through to cash, that's one person, right?
Yeah.
Right. And I go to that one person and his or her teams and processes, and I go, you are responsible for making sure the customer can get what they want when they want it, gets it delivered quickly when they need it, gets them onboarded, up and running, and pays their bill. And maybe then and only then will I allow you to hand it into, let's call them the customer success, the customer retention team.
Yeah, right.
Which is all about that. How do we help the customer get more value out of what it is they've bought? Because we all know, everybody's an expert in this game. We all know that when we are served exceptionally well and we get real value out of what we've bought, we just go back and buy more. It's
Absolutely.
just the most obvious thing, right?
Yeah.
People do business with people. Nothing's changed that.
Right. Well, that's interesting. So then, are you deploying a certain tech stack and process, or are you training people to do something regimented, or what? How are you approaching this?
So I've taken my learnings over many years and packaged them together now, based on all the great clients that I've worked with, big and small, predominantly around UK and EMEA, but many of them are global organizations, right? The likes of a Unilever or a BP or a Diageo or whomever. So I've boiled that down and I've said, look, if I reflect over this time, what has had to be in place in order for them to be really successful with whatever part of their, let me call it, service transformation program they're working on, okay?
Yep, sure.
And yes, it will incorporate technology, of course. Yes, it will mean process work. Of course, it will mean data work. and so on. But
Yep.
there are other components to just business life that have to come together. Business strategy, leadership, culture, all of those things, they have to come together. And
Yeah.
how many times have we all been there and you go, guys, this is not hanging together well, right? And your customer, they sniff it out. They know it doesn't work. If it doesn't hang together, it doesn't work for them. So I've put that into a framework and into a model that I now offer to the client base. And I go, look, let's just be really honest up front. These are the building blocks that need to come together. Yeah, what I find is so many organizations have plenty of initiatives running. We're not short of projects. We're not short of initiatives, right? We got loads of them running. But quite often, yeah, how do you find that they don't really join up? Because some group over there is doing a piece of AI work. Some group over there is doing a bit of technology work in automation. Some group over there is doing voice of the customer programs. Some group is doing something else. And nobody's kind of bringing it all together underneath the business strategy and the outcomes and the business drivers that you're charging ahead for. And so consequently, it doesn't really go anywhere. It misses the mark and they all keep missing each other. And it's not joined up. So I've gone, right, stop for a minute. These are the building blocks. This is the framework that has to come together in order for real world outcomes to be achieved. Whether it's outcomes for you as a business owner or as a business leader or as a CEO or whomever, or outcomes for your customers. More importantly, outcomes for your customers, and equally then customers outcomes for your employees and for your other stakeholders. It all has to be within the framework. So I package it up. I offer it to usually mid-size organizations, as I say, scale-up organizations that they have to do something around their, what I call the operating engine. You've got to get a really well-oiled engine that just is moving at light speed in order to cope with the pace of change of our organizations today, right, in our markets today.
No, I love it that we have to embrace the fact that humans work with narratives. We have to adjust the narratives that we're all working for first, right?
Sure.
And
Exactly.
and I love this idea of the leadership part, and then unifying the clans, breaking down the silos, so that we can actually deliver product or service that we commit to.
Right.
So can you just talk about maybe some of the AI tools that you are recommending for people to look at in order to help support these things?
You know, the most obvious one, where leaders in the market got there first, ChatGPT. You know, if anybody's not playing around with it, either personally for themselves or corporately, they should be. Whether it's chat or whether it's Claude or whether it's Perplexity or whatever the GPTs are, or the large language models even that they use, you've got to be doing something. Because as always, it's experiential learning, especially with the AI models. It's like go and try something and then you'll learn what you can or you can't do, what works well or doesn't work so well. And then you'll think about it for yourself. You'll go, oh, actually, I wonder if I could use that in my next sales call, for example. Right?
Yep.
So I'm a big proponent of, especially in this world of AI, because it's available to the public. And this is the great thing of AI, right? And I love it. This is the great thing. We don't need an IT department in between us and the technology stack anymore to get some value out of it. We don't. I mean, what that does to the IT department of the future, yeah, there's a question for you. There's a good question. But it suddenly put the power in the hands of the business units.
Absolutely.
So I would encourage everybody to play around with ChatGPT, have a look at what it can do, and then start to think, okay, do I want to, what are so there's a number of things, right? One is it can help you just optimize what you do. So efficiency drive is massive. I mean, the fact that I've been using it as a mere pleb myself, I'm not a techie per se. I mean, I get technology and how to use it, but just get on there and start using it, and you realize that you can use it for, content development, content creation. You can use it for doing customer research. You can use it for doing market research. You can use it for doing product innovation. You can use it for doing ideation. You can use it for all of that great stuff. Imagine how long it used to take us to do all of that before. It's just like mad. It's mad. It cuts through so much of that. Now, health warning. Of course, you have to engage this and just sense check it.
Right.
Because, like all great technologies, it doesn't always give you the best answer for that time, the most complete, the most accurate. You need to know something about the technology that you're working with. And so understanding a little bit more then about the large language models and how they work or don't work and why they throw up spurious results and such like. Sure. Those are important things. And I mean, I've been on an AI consulting program for the last year, really based, being run by some of the West Coast crowd who are advising all the big brands in the market at the moment. And the amount of stuff that you've just got to get a head round just to be able to use some of the AI tools well. So the chat bots, the chat GPTs, the LLMs is one thing.
Right.
But now you're into things like video technology. I mean, I don't know, it's probably about 6 months ago, I first looked at an avatar creation video system.
Yeah.
And I've said to my wife and my daughters as I've been going through this course, almost every week my mind is blown even more by something new that I've seen come out. And you just think, and because I've got a business brain like you and all of us listening, you kind of go, wow, how could I apply that in my day job? And, the opportunities are almost endless. The fact that I can now create videos of me doing this,
right,
alongside, product marketing, alongside case studies, alongside research documents that I've gone through, and I don't need to be doing it personally. My clone can now do it, look like me. I might do a bit of touching up around the edges. It can look like me and sound like me. And for all intents and purposes, so long as I'm honest with people and say, look, this is my avatar delivering this to you, I hope you don't mind. And most people don't. And I think that's the world we're going into. Be open and honest and say what you're using the technology for. And most people will go, that's fine, I get it.
Yeah, and as long as you're still focused on providing value for the listener or the consumer of that information, right? And I think that's what we got to keep our mind wrapped around, is that our job is to provide value.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that allows me then to develop and deliver that higher value add personally to some of the clients who buy into this type of program. And I say it, it's not just a course. What I've done is I've packaged up a framework, and we deliver a course both online but on site as well. So it's a hybrid. But then I offer a wraparound kind of advisory program over 6-12 months, because my career's all been about implementation, right? I'm not so interested in giving people more theory. There's plenty of theory out there. There really is. You can get as much theory as you want. But when does theory actually grow a business? So I'm all about implementation, and I want to encourage people to then go on the journey with me, supporting it. That's what I do.
I love it. And then about how long does it take to get a program up and running so that the business is getting some value from it?
Well, you can do that really quick with AI, of course. So it depends what we tease out together. So we do a little bit of discovery very quickly. And we go, well, where are the pain points? But tell me where your business is driving towards. What are you trying to achieve? Don't talk to me about technology. Do not talk to me about technology, guys. Just
Right.
talk to me about your business and what you're trying to achieve, where you are today. And then I'll ask you simple things like, so what's giving you the most grief on a daily basis? How much time is it taking you to do X, Y, or Z?
Yep.
Right. And people will go, oh man, if we could only do this. And you go, great. Here's a starter for 10, right? Here are some areas, candidates for either automation or AI. Now, people often confuse the two,
Sure.
and they shouldn't be confused because there's a lot of automation that you can do probably with your systems even today that
Yep.
you're not doing. So let's have a look at that. Those will be quick wins. We can usually do a lot with that. But then if you can't, just layer on a couple of the AI tools over the top of that.
Right.
And you go, right, let's focus, stay very, very focused. Let's know what the return is that we're expecting. And let's run a few POCs, a few proof of concepts, and
Yep.
see what we get with your data. Because that's the other thing, right? If your data is not particularly clean, then no matter how amazing these AI tools are, you're not necessarily going to get the best value out of that area as opposed to that area. And we need to tease those out. But I'd say within weeks, if not a couple of months, you start to see the value coming through.
Yeah, it's a pretty rapid start to an initial return on the investment into that kind of.
Isn't it? Isn't that amazing? I mean,
Yeah.
previously we'd be talking about years.
Right.
You know?
Oh, well, that's great. I guess what do you see in 2025? I mean, it's super dynamic and we're all trying to keep this tiger by the tail, but what do you see in 2025 that people should be paying attention to?
Well, the whole world of agents is just approaching, right? It's just breaking before our eyes. We can see it.
Yeah.
So what I think Gartner calls it agentic AI.
Right.
So we've got to a point clearly where we've gone, wow, all these great tools, I can do loads of things with it. I've always known what the chatbots can do. Now I've got these agents. And by agents, I mean, let's say a bit of technology that I have given it agency for making decisions on my behalf.
Right.
So now, not only is it going to get the information for me and delivering me information, I'm now confident that actually, if I give it the right rules, that X happens and Y happens and then Z is the action, then actually I can design that into the agent so that that little piece of decision making and action taking happens automatically.
It's beautiful.
Now that's fantastic because again, you can see that that takes you to the next level of efficiency, hopefully effectiveness, and to some degree, I am a proponent of saying, you know what, get the humans out of some of the operational processes.
Sure.
You know, because AI agents don't need time to go to the restroom. They don't flag during the day. They don't need tea breaks. They don't need holidays. They don't need vacations. They don't need a lot of things. And they will consistently run the process for you. Assuming you've come up with a good process that delivers value to your customer, automate it and get out of it.
Love
and
it.
go on and do the next one, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
agent AI is definitely the place that we're going. The big challenges are going to be we won't be able to control it as we accelerate the development of agents. Because if you think about it, you're going to have millions, eventually billions of AI agents out there.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how many we've got at the moment, but it's just going to, you know, exponentially grow more than there's even number of humans on the planet to be able to supervise it.
Certainly.
So we then have a supervisory level of AI agents sitting over the smaller agents. But that's the world we're going into, and we all need to grapple with that now. Go AI first and think operationally, if this is where we're going, how can I leverage that capability and really build a forward driving structure for my organization that leverages those great benefits.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Johann, you and I could continue this conversation, I think, all day. And I really appreciate your time and insight. And thank you for being here with me.
No problem.
Yeah, just give us how we get in touch with you if we want to have some more conversation. Yeah.
So LinkedIn is probably the best. I'm out there doing my thing. Johann Diaz, you'll find me definitely. Service Revolution is the name of the framework and the program, or www.service-revolution.com. And there's everything about the course, the program, everything else about me is out there as well. So delighted to engage with anybody who wants to pick it up.
All right. Well, that's amazing, and I'm interested to see how the year progresses for you, and I want to get you back on later this year and see how you're viewing what's happening in this dynamic world of AI. So
absolutely right. Yeah, I'd love to, Emmanuel. Thanks very much. It's great to chat with you.
Yeah, it's great to see you. And just hang on for a second, and I'll be with you briefly. Sure. Okay. Well, great insight from Johann about agentic AI and about getting engaged with software now, and but having a very clear outcome for why you're implementing it, and then breaking down the silos so that you have the potential to recoup the ROI that is waiting for you by automating the things that the humans either are not good at or don't want to do. Thanks for joining me, and look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.